He lost 16 years for a crime he didn't commit, and his truth came too late. Microphone hash, before you hear this story, take a second to subscribe. Not for me, but for every innocent man and woman who never got to tell their truth. Click the link below and join the movement for justice and awareness. Together, we stand for the unheard. Pushpin click here medium skin tone hand pointing right https://youtube.com at wealth_wounds. Sub_confirmation equals 1. It was a quiet Saturday morning in the small southern town of Oak Ridge, the kind of town where people's lives were whispered before they were lived. Malcolm Davis, a 32-year-old mechanic, kissed his wife Tasha goodbye as he headed out to work. Their son, Caleb, ran after him barefoot, waving his little Spider-Man toy. "Be safe, Daddy." "Always am, little man," Malcolm smiled, tossing the boy in the air before walking toward his pickup truck. He never made it to the garage. Halfway down Pine Street, flashing lights filled his rearview mirror. A single siren cut through the calm morning. License and registration. "Sure, officer. What's wrong?" "We got a report of a robbery. You fit the description." Those words, "you fit the description," echoed in Malcolm's chest. He had heard them before. Every black man in Oak Ridge had. Within minutes, 2 more patrol cars arrived. Neighbors peered through blinds. Children stopped playing. Malcolm's hands trembled as he tried to explain he was on his way to work. But by then, the cuffs were already around his wrists. "You're making a mistake. Tell it to the judge." That was the last sunrise he'd see as a free man for the next 16 years. The courtroom smelled of sweat, coffee, and quiet prejudice. Malcolm's public defender, Mr. Jenkins, barely looked him in the eye. Across the room sat District Attorney Charles Holt, confident and sharp, the kind of man who never lost a case and didn't plan to start now. The evidence was paper-thin, a blurry camera photo, a witness who thought it looked like him, and a wallet found near the scene. But Holt spun it like gold. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," he said with icy conviction, "the defendant was seen fleeing the store just minutes after the robbery. Do not let this criminal slip through justice's fingers." Tasha sat in the gallery clutching Caleb's tiny hand. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered to herself, "They don't see him. They don't want to." When the verdict came, it was swift and merciless. Guilty on all counts. Malcolm's knees buckled. He tried to turn toward his wife, but the guards pulled him away. "Tasha, tell Caleb I love him. Tell him." The words dissolved beneath the echoing clang of the cell door. Prison became a slow death. Malcolm learned to survive on silence and memory. Each day began with the metallic slam of doors and ended with a prayer whispered to the cracked ceiling. He worked in the laundry room, folded sheets, wrote letters that never got replies. He taught other inmates how to read. He shared stories about Caleb, the son he hadn't seen since he was 5. Sometimes, at night, he'd imagine the boy grown up, a teenager, maybe in college, maybe angry at the world for something he didn't do. And every now and then, when the prison chaplain came around, Malcolm would ask, "Do you think the truth ever finds its way back?" "Sometimes it does," the chaplain said, "but sometimes it arrives too late." 16 years later, a new attorney named Alicia Monroe stumbled upon Malcolm's case while reviewing old convictions for potential retrial. She was struck by the inconsistencies, the lack of DNA, the missing alibi statements, the witness who'd since recanted. This was a setup, Alicia muttered to herself. She visited Malcolm in prison. He looked older, worn, but his eyes were still alive. "Mr. Davis, I think you were wrongfully convicted." "Miss Monroe, I've been saying that for 16 years. Nobody cared to listen." Alicia smiled softly. "Well, I'm listening now." That day, something changed. For the first time in years, hope had a sound. Microphone hash, if you're still watching, take a moment to hit subscribe. Stories like this are happening right now, and your voice, your share, can bring awareness to someone still buried by lies. Click the link below to stay part of this fight. Pushpin click here medium skin tone hand pointing right https://youtube.com at wealth_wounds. Sub_confirmation equals 1. Alicia found a hidden police memo, proof that an officer had ignored video footage showing another man leaving the store moments before the robbery. She presented it to the court. The news spread like wildfire. The same town that once turned its back on Malcolm now filled the courtroom again, this time to watch history rewrite itself. When the judge declared, "Case dismissed. Mr. Davis, you are free to go," the silence broke into a wave of tears and applause. Tasha, now older, ran to him, her hands trembling. "I never stopped believing," she whispered. "Neither did I," Malcolm replied, holding her tight. Freedom felt heavy. Caleb was now 21, a stranger, yet his father's reflection. "I didn't know what to believe, Dad. Mom told me, but the world said otherwise." "That's all right, son. The truth got here, even if it took its time." But just as Malcolm began rebuilding, tragedy struck. The stress of years lost, the depression, and the sudden flood of emotions took their toll. One rainy evening, Tasha found him collapsed beside the same pickup truck he was taken from years ago. The doctors said it was a heart failure, brought on by trauma, grief, and exhaustion. He died 2 months after his exoneration. The DA, Charles Holt, was now running for senator. When news of Malcolm's wrongful conviction reached the media, Holt brushed it off as an unfortunate oversight. But Alicia wasn't done. She had one more document, a suppressed confession Holt signed off to hide. When it leaked, the whole country erupted. A senator's campaign fell apart overnight. And Malcolm's son, Caleb, stood on the courthouse steps holding a framed photo of his father. He died free, but he shouldn't have died at all. The crowd fell silent. Cameras flashed. The wind carried the echo of a man who never stopped believing in truth. Then Caleb turned to Alicia and whispered, "We are not done. We finish what he started." Fade out. As Caleb walked away from the courthouse, a black sedan pulled up behind him. Inside sat a man in a suit, sunglasses glinting. "You're looking for justice, kid," the man said quietly. "Yeah. Why?" "Because your father wasn't the only one they buried." The door shut. The car pulled off into the distance. To be continued.